40 is not about a program or a set of practices. It's an opportunity to focus beyond our own circles, what's going on in our lives, and ask God to move in our city, in the lives of others.
For this congregation to come together and just really get involved and worship and praise, and it was just a really uplifting experience to be part of that and to be more mindful of prayer and worship in the city.
To be able to get the messages every day and realize that there's so many people praying for the same thing. The community that comes together knowing that everybody's right behind you and praying the same thing all the time.
Prayer is at the foundation of this movement, making sure this thing isn't just about us and what we're able to do, but about what God is already doing. Prayer, if we're doing it the way Jesus tells us to, has the power to help us move past our own agendas and our own selfishness. It reorients our lives around what God is doing. Everything that we ask God should get filtered through this idea that what we really want and need most is to see His kingdom break through here in our lives and in our city.
Just prayed for the city that lives will be changed and that we can do our part to love on our city.
We did a prayer night for the city with the Harbor Missional community, and we had different stages where kids could go and they could pray for something for the city, they could write a prayer down for a specific friend, and we just spent about half hour in prayer for the town.
As we go out into the streets of our city, we have the opportunity to carry a message of hope, to declare God's goodness in the way we speak and in the way we live. For many people, hope has been lost in the struggle. But Jesus, when He taught us to pray, He taught us to pray that what's happening in heaven, God's kingdom coming and His will being done, would also start happening here. Our ultimate hope is most certainly in heaven, but our hope is not just in an idea or in a place, it's in a person. And His name is Jesus. He is our living hope.
Be able to reach out and hopefully touch people in ways that they won't even realize maybe for a while, but it'll come to it and then they'll begin to realize that God is really there and God really loves them.
You know, the best thing for me is to give, and giving with your whole heart and not expecting anything back. It's a wonderful experience.
We know that Jesus wanted His church to live in unity, right? It's what He chose to pray for. It's not just about us all having the same opinion or perspective on everything. It's about Jesus inviting each of us to be a part of something bigger. But so often, instead of doing the work He's given us to do, we spend our time and energy looking around the table. So unity comes when we allow ourselves to consider the bigger picture of what God is doing. Realize that our small section of the canvas is being caught up in a greater work of art, in a masterpiece, and the true artist has a plan for how this is all going to come together. And it's going to come together to display His glory, not ours.
We are the change the world is waiting for. We've got a love the world is desperate for. We will lead and take to your streets. Now's the time.
Our hope is that the true light would shine into the streets of our city, and that it would bring life to those who have spent their days in darkness. Jesus says that we are the light of the world, but we're really just fragile containers holding something infinitely more valuable and brilliant than we could produce on our own. Something that has the power to change the world around us. And when that light shines into our lives, it brings the truth with it. It shows us who we really are and who He really is. If God's light has been made to shine into your life through His Son, Jesus, then let's live in that light. And as we do, we have the amazing privilege of bringing that light into our city as we declare and demonstrate where it comes from, its true source. You know, the challenge is not just how to love the people of our city. The challenge is how can we love them with God's love? And the answer doesn't start with anything we can do. It's really more about what God has already done. God has made Himself known. He went first. He loved first, and it's because of his love that we can respond in love, that we can then love him. If the law is wrapped up in love, if it's fulfilled in love, then it was fulfilled by the one who truly loved, by Jesus. So as we respond to God's love with everything, with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, we will become people who love his people. Not with some ability we have on our own, but through the power of his Spirit living in us. And that is the only hope our city has of seeing a love that isn't about us, but a love that comes from him.
The Lakeside Missional Community Group went to Ecumen. We brought ice cream treats and root beer float.
The Harbor Missional Community went to the encounter.
It was dirty, and now it's clean. There was stuff to be lifted. We lifted it.
Our family's gotten to do some snow removal in our neighborhood.
Who sort through donated medical equipment to Cameroon and other places in Africa.
I keep an open eye for people who need an extra hand.
I babysat for free.
Working with teens that are dealing with difficult life circumstances.
I got to help a neighbor work on his snowblower.
We shoveled for our neighbor's yard.
To work with neighborhood youth services.
We just got to talk with neighbors.
The Redemption Ministry building.
Volunteer to celebrate recovery.
Did some spring cleaning.
Our missional community, they did a coffee night downtown.
I had a group of women over at our house. Some of them need Jesus, and so that was fun to be able to minister to them.
Now's the time for us to rise and carry hope and let love shine and show